big love to my Donny Hidden Leaf for sponsoring man in the Patreon. Any other Get Money generals out there who want to join Team YB, request content, receive daily exclusive videos, check me out in the link in the description below. Patreon.com/TheYB. Now, Deontay, oh man, my little skinny legs have forsaken me, grandmama. Wilder has come out and listed and gone into more details on all of his injuries, aka all of his excuses on the night of February 22nd. But it's quite interesting, you know, he's exposed himself again. Not only has he exposed himself for lying about the whole costume excuse, he's going to expose himself on a number of other fronts. But let's get to it. Right, so he starts off about the ear situation. He says, in quotes, "I had a small cut in my ear. I have no idea how that occurred," Wilder said. "And it was in a very weird position in my ear as well. That's why my team couldn't really get to it. But I don't know how that happened." Wilder added that the cut in his ear had no negative impact on his equilibrium. His bad balance had more to do with having no legs by the second round, according to Wilder. "It didn't affect me at all," Wilder said of the cut in his ear. "When you're in there and you're fighting and you're a warrior, man, I can only speak for myself. I don't worry about certain things. My adrenaline is very high in there. I knew it was bleeding, but I don't think it was affecting me. It didn't affect me like the rabbit punches and stuff like that. Getting hit on the back of the head and the neck, that affected me more than anything." Wilder figures blood flowing from his ear probably looked worse than it felt because it's such an uncommon occurrence in boxing. "My eardrum didn't get busted like my cheeks did." No, my eardrum didn't get busted. However, my cheeks did, Wilder said. "Usually, when your eardrum gets busted, like my cheeks did, you know, it affects certain things. It was just some type of scratch or opening inside of my ear. That's about it." So there you go. You've heard some more updates there from Wilder on his current situation. And I've got a number of things to say on this. Now, listen, first of all, I was going to do a video on this, but I'll probably just link it into this now. I'm not sure about this whole ear cut situation. The way that BLOOD was flowing out, that looked like a drum got busted to me. And you got to remember, we're dealing with unscrupulous individuals here. We're dealing with Al Heyman. And these guys, look, Errol Spence got flung out of a car with no seatbelt on at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and they tell us he's only got scratches. I just find stuff hard to believe. I'm sorry. I find it hard to believe it was a little scratch on the ear. And he even says himself, "Oh, I'm not sure how it happened." And I'm not sure how a glove creates a scratch in your ear. Come on. And the reason you may be wondering, oh, what's the motive for this? What's the motive for lying? Well, the motive for lying is, if you're going into a rematch, if you're planning on fighting again, you don't want your opponent, and this is where Kell Brook went wrong. This is where Team Kell Brook completely shit'd the bed. Because they came out and said, my ears are shattered, my eye bones are shattered, I'll never be the same again, please don't hit me on the eyes. And then obviously, everyone hunted his eyes down, and he can't, anytime he gets hit on the eye now, he's finished, kind of thing. So to be fair to Wilder's team, they're doing the right thing, they're trying to make out it's something else, but unfortunately, it's not. This excuse is a no-go. We all saw it. Number one, we saw the initial impact and it squirt. Number two, we saw the minute you got hit on the ear, your equilibrium went. See what I mean? Your equilibrium don't just go. Well, it does actually when you got no legs. So to be fair, he might be telling the truth actually, because I've been saying this from the start. Wilder's got no legs. I've been saying that. Once again, YB don't know boxing. YB don't know anything. Oh, YB's a joker. I've been telling you, legs are important. And it's not rocket science. His legs are fundamentally way too skinny. Never mind cardio. He needs to be squatting heavy weight, low reps. Get strong. That's what you need to be doing. AJ, on the other hand, he don't need to be squatting. He's already got that stability. Wilder hasn't, clearly. And that's why, when quotation mark pillow fist hit him, he was gone. Now, as I was explaining, I'm not sure. I'm 50-50. Either genuinely it was a cut, or they're trying to cover it up so that Fury doesn't know to hunt his ear down again. Either way, I'd advise Fury to go for it again anyway, because the fact of the matter is, it worked last time. Why not? And you'll notice, look at Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz hit AJ in the back of the head in the first fight, which by the way, I didn't complain about. And in the second fight, he was proper headhunting for it again, and I didn't complain again. So I don't really mind that. I think it's fair game. You're having a fight at the end of the day. Who really cares where you get hit? And in my opinion, it's, mate, you're in control of your own destiny in that sense. If you don't want to get hit somewhere, guess what? Put your hand there. If you don't want to get hit on the back, on the side of your head, put your hand on your side of your head, and you won't be getting hit there then, will you? Simple as that. Because you'll notice that when Wilder puts his earmuffs on, like historically AJ's guard's very wide. AJ's guard naturally kind of covers the side of his face, and he leaves his kind of straight, he leaves his face open. Whereas Wilder's a lot more central. He covers his pointy chin instead. And that's what often enabled Fury to get round the side of it and bop him on his ear, kind of thing. And that's why you've got to be adaptive. And that's what I rate about Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather was very adaptive. He had a number of different, he didn't have one stance, which makes you hard to calculate. When you go in there and you've got one way of doing things, when you go in there like Wilder does, and everyone knows, or I've been shouting from the rooftops, everyone knows when you back Wilder up, he's going to put his earmuffs on in a particular way, the same way every time. And that there's a tell. That's the last thing you want, is your opponent knowing, if I do this, if I come within 2 feet of Wilder, he's going to put his arms in this exact position. And I can then whip a hook round the side, which is what happened. Or whip a right hand, curl a right hand round the side, which is what happened. And it bopped him. And that's not Fury's fault. And you hear people crying and complaining about, equilibrium. His equilibrium was shot. Well, he's telling you here that it wasn't even the eardrum. So it's peak for you, man. It's truly peak for Wilder fans, you know, because they were all banking on the fact that his equilibrium went because his ear was gone. Unfortunately, this just proves that I'm going to take Wilder at his word. Let's assume that they're not covering it up. And let's take Wilder at his word. Let's assume that it was just a cut. That means that you've got no chin whatsoever. And you've also admitted yourself you've got no legs. And I feel sorry for Wilder, because I think what's happened is, you know when he talked about the whole costume thing, I think what that is what you call clutching at straws. Basically what's happened, he's been clocked on his pointy chin, and he's thought, what happened to my legs? My legs have just gone. And instead of kind of giving Fury credit and saying, you know what, Fury, you're pillar-fisted, however, my chin, I am absolutely chinless. See what I mean? In terms of the male ego, it's going to be very hard for the male ego to admit that. But that's the truth. The truth is, Wilder, if you want to know the truth, come to the YB channel, I'll tell you. I'll whisper it to you, yeah? The truth is, you got hit by what you said was a pillar-fisted man, and your chin, which is chinless, fell apart. Your chinless chin sent vibrations, sent neurological signals to your legs, and they just cut off. That's what happened. Nothing to do with, and you've even said yourself, it wasn't even to do with your eardrum. The best, Wilder's in a no-win situation here. Either he admits it was his eardrum, and Fury can chase it down next time, or he says it isn't his eardrum, and it just proves that he's got no chin and got no legs. So he can't win here. And what he's telling everyone now, he's got no chin. Because we all know the excuse about the whole costume thing is completely invalid. Not even a bit of validation does that have. And to be honest, I might sound excited, but I always sound excited. But the reason I'm not that excited is because we all try to tell everyone. We was telling people, his chin is pointy. There's a reason he puts his earmuffs right on. He knows he can't afford to be touched there at all. No word of a lie, yeah. People think I'm joking, but go and watch his brother fight. Go and watch his brother's last fight. He gets touched with the first shot and he's literally out. I'm talking out. And they're the same genetics. People laugh at me for calling people genetic specimens, but that's what it comes down to. Wilder's genetics forsaked him. And his chin. Fury put too much pressure, one shot got through, and that was it. And look at Ortiz, for example. Ortiz, I said this in another video, Ortiz, a man who couldn't even buzz Dave Allen, buzzed Wilder. And Ortiz don't buzz no one. Ortiz went 50-50 with Christine Hammer. Ortiz couldn't buzz Christine Hammer. See what I'm trying to say? Wilder literally has no chin. And that's where Ortiz went wrong. Ortiz went into that fight and he was throwing too many body shots. Then again, Wilder got put down to the body. I wonder what his excuse was for that. But in fact, I can tell you what his excuse was. Wilder's excuse for getting put down to the body was, even though he got hit to the head 3 rounds before, his legs were so gone. He's literally got no chin. He's so chinless that chinlessness lasted for the full 3 rounds. Then he hit to the body and his legs just give way. At that point, you could have literally just touched him on his head and he'd have fell over. Yeah? no stability in the legs and just completely chinless. And this is why I've been shouting it from the rooftops. This is why he didn't want Vitali. This is why he didn't want Vlad. This is why he didn't want AJ. I'm just so glad we've been finally vindicated now. The proof is in the pudding. Because you said it, Wilder, not us. You said that Fury's pillow-fisted. Yeah? And you've been exposed. The pillow-fisted man came in there and knocked you all around the ring. Just imagine, and the difference is, yeah, if that had been AJ in there, you'd have been out coldly. You'd have got your wish. You wish you could go out like a warrior. AJ would have obliged that. But now, like I said, we know why the AJ fight, and I'm glad you know that Fury has gone in there and done this, because seeing how vulnerable Wilder's chin really is, do you think he doesn't know that? Do you think after all these years of sparring and amateurs and whatnot and getting knocked down and whatever, do you think he doesn't know his chin's vulnerable? Of course he does. My point is, I'm glad that Fury has gone in there and done that, because knowing or now publicly seeing how vulnerable Wilder's chin is, we now know that Wilder would never would have taken that fight with AJ or Dillian White. Never. Not in a million years. Do you know what I mean? Now, if we can work it out and we're outsiders, imagine his team. Imagine what his team know about how vulnerable his chin is. It was never going to happen, ever. Not in a month of Sundays was that fight ever going to happen. So I'm glad that God works in mysterious ways, and he got tired of Wilder messing around, and he's been exposed. And Fury will go in there and do the same. You can't change your chin. You can't change your legs. Even if Wilder goes in there and starts squatting heavy now, 6 months isn't enough time for them legs. They're just too skinny. You need to have, if you had a kind of base, like for example, I don't know, pick someone like Fury, for example. I think Fury, his legs ain't no Wilder legs. They're skinny, but if Fury starts squatting properly for the next 6 months, he can get some decentness on him, yeah? Wilder's just so far behind. 6 months ain't enough time. He needs a good 24-month program to get any kind of level. He's done. Literally done. Because he told you there, the reason I was bashed around the ring wasn't nothing to do with my equilibrium. It was to do with being touched on the chin. And you can't change your chin. And people will say, oh no, he's got one shot in him. He's got one shot. He hasn't even got that. His power's useless. His power's overrated. His power's top 30, top 40, top 50 probably. His power's average. If you pick any 220 pound man, yeah, any 220 pound heavyweight, Wilder's power is about the same as theirs. Holyfield, probably not even as strong as Holyfield. Probably not even as strong as Ali. I'd just put him. He's probably just below them lot. That's where I'd put him. Wilder's power is below any of the decent heavyweights. That's where he sits now. Exposed. Hilarious.